Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Eric McElroy. Good day, evening, morning.
Day to you, sir.
Time of place that you're watching this. We are live as of the recording of this video. Broadcast brand new to you, our trusty viewer, at the point where you're watching it.
Yep. And as we worked out in last week's show, it is still worth streaming it, because that means it doesn't get taken down straight away. Like if we tried to upload it and then it'd go through whatever AI filter would say, you ain't allowed to say that these days. So enjoy it. Imbibe this live.
Yeah, before we get canceled. Oh, God, I'd love it if we got canceled. That would really boost our careers. But welcome to the show, where Steve and I solve all of the world's problems. We're going to just tear through things today. It's a little bit of a different show today, isn't it, Steve? Because we're having a mini reshuffle. I don't know if that's one of the stories that you're covering.
No, it's not, but I always have a little mini reshuffle before we start filming.
We should have swapped. Can we swap sides? Can you do that real quick?
No.
No. Well, actually, what we did, you didn't see this before, but what we did is as part of the mini reshuffle, which Rishi Sunak is doing, we actually did swap sides, but then we swapped back again before we started broadcasting. And that's probably as effective as his reshuffle will be, because he'll be in the same shit spot that he is already. So there we go. Some topical comedy. Woo!
So exciting you twat your mic.
Yes, I didn't mean to. But yeah, Steve and I are going to solve some problems. We enjoy you watching. If you're enjoying what you're doing, you can like the video. You can subscribe to the channel. You could even, dare I say it?
Dare.
You say it.
Dare.
You say it. They like it. What can they do, Steve?
You could donate, contribute, leave a tip. Just the tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
The best part. But anyway,
and it's all scrolling down there these days. The slow scroll. And let's not forget, we designed this whole look about a month before they relaunched. Maybe it's more than a month before they launched Talk TV. It basically ripped off our look.
Yeah, that's definitely what they did.
Yeah.
And I love this act. You say we designed this.
You're right, I designed it. And do you know how much it cost? £0, because I'm Northern and refuse to spend any money on things. So somehow we got this for £0. I bet you Talk TV dropped a cool million on some sort of graphic designers. Roughly got the same thing.
Shouldn't say it cost us nothing, just after we've asked for donations.
We should at least match that. At least match the amount that I spent designing all of this.
All of this. Right. Well, we've got some news to cover, some problems to solve. Shall we just dive straight in?
Let's do it.
Yeah, well, the biggest news to hit America over the last 7 days since we've last been on air has been this. China floated a balloon over the United States. It started in Montana and went all the way through the exciting places like Kansas.
What's I thought trying to get to Kansas is the kind of thing you could write a story about.
No one wants to go to Kansas. I've driven through Kansas. It's just flat. It is just wheat and flat and rednecks. It is definitely flyover country. That's what that part of America is called, flyover country, and that's what the Chinese were trying to do. Is just fly over.
But isn't that the entire plot of The Wizard of Oz?
Exactly. That's what this balloon was all about. It was around the world in 80 days, or across America in 3. Nice. And it became a big deal across all of the news media. They were just obsessed with this balloon. China says it's a weather balloon that went astray. People said it's a spying balloon. It's like as big as 3 buses or something. It's a big balloon. Big balloon. I mean, I know one of my children's birthdays was last week. They thought it was for them. I was like, no balloons for you. But because, of course, this was a balloon flying over America, Americans dealt with it in a really sensible way, especially when you see this headline that came up. Police beg locals to refrain from taking pot shots at the Chinese spy balloon, which was at like 50,000 feet. Now, I know Americans are heavily armed. However, even with your AR-15, you're not going to hit the Chinese balloon. Not that high.
So great that they tried.
Of course they tried. You've got people that have bazookas as recreational weapons. Because the only thing that happens when you shoot a bullet straight up in the air, it just comes down. Again, there's like an arc or something.
Parabola.
It goes up. Bless you. It goes up. and it comes down again and just kills people. More people are probably killed by the pot shotters than the Chinese balloon itself.
It's not a bad reason
America.
to launch a balloon, is it? If you want to try and attack a nation, just say, there you go, and they shoot each other with that.
Get the balloon, June. So police said, please stop shooting the balloon. And the Biden administration took the view not to shoot the balloon down over the United States because they didn't want to kill anyone. So, but they're flying over, Republican states, and they're happy to kill people. But eventually, after the balloon moved out into the ocean, before it went into international waters, the Biden administration did shoot it down. We have a shot of what that looked like here. Here they took it out. It was pretty big explosion.
I got a bad feeling about that.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, the entire week that this was happening, the right-wing media, Fox News, all of them were like, why isn't Biden doing anything about this? We need to protect America, congressional investigations. I'm going to take care of this myself. Actual congressmen were also posting photos of themselves holding the gun, shooting the balloon down. It was just insane. The right-wing media, like this, you know what? Donald Trump Jr. was out saying this would never happen under my daddy. Not a single balloon would go across the United States. And he's right. Not a single balloon went across the United States when Donald Trump was president. 3 balloons did. 3 balloons.
Dear.
And no one knew. Trump told no one. He just thought they were a gift from President Xi. Beautiful balloons, the biggest balloons, the best. They send the best balloons.
Yeah.
So it seems like it was a lot of hype. I mean, yes, it's bad, I guess, that they're spying on us with balloons. I mean, because there's thousands of satellites that are taking pictures. So I don't quite see what the big deal is that are all over the place. So 1 balloon.
And also, I was surprised that they hadn't painted this spy balloon sky color. Because, look, I'm not a spy expert, but it really stuck out, didn't it? The big white balloon on a blue sky.
True, but they also don't want planes to crash into it. Because that would be bad PR.
You just paint the bottom sky color, paint the top the opposite of ground color, and then the planes wouldn't hit it. You see?
Just just paint on the top of the balloon.
Yeah.
Watch out. Don't fly here.
Yeah, and this is what I don't understand as well. Maybe it was a spy balloon. I don't really know whether it was or wasn't. I'm just guessing here. But why would you bother with balloon technology when, like, you make all the routers? Just analyze things. You've got all the data anyway. Just hack into all that internet stuff, and who's taking pictures via balloon these days?
Yeah, considering how obsessed the American media got with it, it definitely was a squirrel-like distraction. Balloon. And then they're hacking all the TikToks and the routers and everything else. So you're right. Everybody's looking at the balloon. Well, some Chinese spies were just sneaking it the back, just taking everything. Walking like this isn't racist, is it?
No, probably depends.
Sneaky.
What accent are you doing?
Should I try the no?
No. Yeah, but it was a fascinating story, wouldn't it? I would love more info on whether it was a spy balloon or not. I suppose the thing is I don't really care because they weren't spying on us. So do whatever you want. It's kind of funny.
Well, they shot it down in the ocean. They're collecting the debris, and they're going to be able to analyze what the chunk, because he was carrying like a huge payload. It was like really, really big pieces of tech stuff. So they're going to analyze it to see if it was indeed things that you'd have in a weather balloon, like barometers, or just, the app on your iPhone, because it tells you what the weather is. So I don't know what you need the balloon for. Just
if you want to sow dissent in the West, you don't need to send over spy cameras and other pieces of detecting equipment. Send over a weather balloon that measures something to do with climate change, and then just watch the internet rip itself apart. It's a hoax. People. People. It's always them. Always people.
It's the American people. Bless them. So there we go. Big story. We covered it. Solved it. Shot it down.
Who would have thought that America would have resolved an issue by shooting at something? Beautiful. I did tweet when the video of it popping said something like, imagine the size of the teddy bear that guy's just won. Because it was an impressive shot. So, thank you for watching. Keep, subscribing, sharing, liking, giving us some money. They're your basics. Let's move on to another problem. For this problem, we need to actually go back to last week to remember it all started when the IMF said that within the G7, Britain was going to have the worst growth, was the way that it was originally called. That was the worst growth in as much as we were the only one to shrink. It's really weird calling that weak growth. Like, you're Todger. Is it a shower or a grower? Well, technically a grower in as much as it is smaller when it's hard. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't call it that. It's a really weird way of phrasing it. But anyway, people were upset that the International Monetary Fund was saying that. Jacob Rees-Mogg said, when was the last time the IMF predicted anything correctly? It was 1862 when I was a young boy. Side note on Jacob Rees-Mogg, by the way. If I had got the headline there that I should have showed you. The side note is I almost met him last week.
Oh, God.
I walked past him in the street and I thought, there's Jacob Rees-Mogg. And then I went in to get a drink from an Marks and Spencer's, came out. Jacob Rees-Mogg still stood there at the side of the road, and I saw someone go up to him and ask him for a selfie. And he obliged, which I was surprised by because I didn't realise he'd show up in photographs. I expected, and he kind of almost smiled. That's not what you want, is it? If you go for a Jacob Rees-Mogg selfie, you want him to have that Victorian not smiling in photos face. Yeah. And kind of, surely we don't move as it wouldn't have exposed enough by now. He stood there for about half an hour. But anyway, he was upset about this. Well, yeah, what does the International Monetary Fund know? Because before they downgraded their estimation, the government were loving it because the prediction was that we'd have healthy growth. Middle of the table growth. And the government was saying, well, the IMF are predicting that we have healthy growth. So it clearly shows that our policy is right. The IMF can be trusted on these things. As soon as it gets downgraded, what do the IMF know about the price of eggs? These bunch of idiots. International Monetary Fund, more like international minge fiddlers for all they know about anything. These absolute bunch of fiddlers. The impressive meringue fart would know more about the growth rate than International Monetary Fund, international mother is more like. So they were really against it. And what I think is beautiful about that is if you wait a little while, the next thing you know, there'll be a prediction that comes out for 2024 when they've uprated us, so we'll grow even more. And the same politicians will say, these IMF guys, they know what they're talking about. These are the experts. It's bizarre, isn't it? That as soon as it's so disingenuous, and yet no one seems to spot it. Anyway, so the IMF were saying, we've got a problem. We don't have enough growth. We need more growth. And these were idiots, these fools for daring to say that. Meanwhile, someone else was saying it because she's back. Liz Truss is back, as the Daily Telegraph told us. And I mean, it's like a horror movie, isn't it? She's a zombie, but clearly not interested in brains. She's not the only political comeback that we've had this weekend. It's been shocking, hasn't it? This weekend we saw Nadine Dorries interview Boris Johnson, although calling what she did to him in interviews a bit like expecting a medical exam and ending up with a hand job. But so, look, when it comes to what we had in the Telegraph, Liz Truss is back. It was a shocking headline. It's the worst headline we've had from them since just the other day. They're on a roll. But if we actually look at the main Liz Truss one there, I was brought down by the left-wing economic establishment. The left-wing economic establishment. The city traders and bankers and hedge fund types. Yep. You ever seen the film Wall Street? These bunch of commies. That's what I'm talking about. These bunch of lefties trying to absolutely ruin things for everyone. Because she always had the mentality of, you've got to trust the market. And the market said, you done fucked up. And she said, well, not that market. Don't trust, no, not that. Trust the other market, the one that agrees with me. Oh, there is no market that agrees with me. Well, they're all just a bunch of lefties, these anti-growth coalition people. So, and also she criticised Rishi in there as well, which feels a little bit cheeky. But I read that I didn't do the full 4,000 words. It was a big essay. Skimmed it.
Yeah.
I got the general gist that it definitely wasn't her fault, and she's become really good at gaslighting. My favourite bit was this picture, actually, because it looks like she sat there to try and make it look like she sat in the picture frame. Like if you have to hide in a museum, if it was a comedy film and you needed to, for some reason, hide. But the best headline to come out of this is actually from the BBC website, because if you're worried that Liz Truss is coming back, thankfully they go with, Liz Truss, I don't want to be Prime Minister again. Oh, really? That's a shame, because it'd only take you a couple of days. I reckon, previously you got it done in 49. I reckon you could get it about 12 and you'd be out of a job. So, don't give up hope yet, Liz. I'm not really sure I solved the problem there, other than started to cry about the fact. I mean, what an absolute mess. People would have been, it's the start of the month, isn't it? So people would have just paid higher mortgage rates and then got a copy of the Telegraph and seen she's back and convinced that she was right all along.
It's almost like there's no shame.
Well, to be fair, she had shame, but the left-wing economic establishment stole the shame from her. So you can't blame her that she's got no shame.
True. I guess the thing that confuses me at the beginning part of your story there is with the whole IMF growth thing. Is what does the impossible mission force have to do with economic growth?
Yeah. Not a lot, as it turns out.
Because the IMF, that's from the show.
Keeping your references fresh from the show as well, not from the films. Not from the films, from the show.
1966 series.
Yeah.
It's been downhill from then.
It's a great theme tune because it's in 5/4 time and no one thinks it is. It's a really difficult time signature, but dun 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 dun. It's in 5/4 time.
Oh.
Dun 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 dun. Hey? A-level music's not wasted, is it?
Yes, it is.
It is. Of course it is.
Go back and watch his Dolly Parton bit, and you can see where it's wasted. Sorry. Was that below the belt?
Not done comedy songs on here for a while, but the Dolly Parton ones were the biggest challenge. You tried singing Dolly's. She got a difficult range.
Singing Dolly's. Yeah, I mean, basically the UK's hosed.
Yep.
That's the end of that. That's that problem solved. Well, I've got one. I'm, a trendsetter I am. I'm way ahead of the curve. And that's why when I asked you about this earlier, you're like, yeah, that's been a thing for a while now. But I've seen the phrase and I didn't know what it meant. So for those of you, I'm sure you're trendsetters as well. That's why you're watching this show. But it's a thing called Chat GPT. And apparently people know what it is. I didn't until I Googled it this morning. I thought maybe it was like it was the NHS solution where you just chat to a GP online.
Yep.
I mean, that makes sense.
It does.
Chat GPT, and then you have a cup of tea. But that's not what it is. Apparently, it's this new website where it's an AI algorithm which will create content for you. And people have in the States been worried about this. That's where I did see it originally talked about, that, university students or even high school students were going to use this to generate material for essays and so on. But I thought, I'm a comedian and I have to generate material. Wonder how this would work for comedy. So I have written a Chat GPT routine. Or it's written one for us. So this is a debut here. It's a comedy routine about marriage.
Nice.
Stock and trade comedy material. So here we go. I should have wait, hold on.
Got a handheld mic.
Yeah, wait.
Hell yeah.
Here we go. Okay.
Oh, look at this.
So, marriage. It's like a roller coaster. 1 minute, you're on top of the world. And the next, you're in the depths of despair. But you know what they say? Why pay for a roller coaster ride when you can have it for free? What's the biggest misconception about marriage? That it's all about love. No. It's about compromise. I mean, who wants to eat at the same restaurant every night for the rest of their lives? But when you're married, you have to. And don't get me started on chores. I asked my wife what she wanted for our anniversary, and she said, just do the dishes. I mean, who needs jewelry when you can have a clean kitchen? But you know what's the best part about being married? Waking up next to someone who makes you coffee every morning. And the worst part? Realizing it's decaf. In conclusion, it does say that.
In conclusion, because that's what we all say on stage.
That's what we all say on stage at the end of our comedy seminars.
In conclusion, I'm going to do that tonight.
In conclusion, marriage is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, but as long as it's chocolate, you're happy. Which I think is an anal sex joke.
If it is, it's the only joke in there.
I've been Chat GPT. Good night, Chicago.
Wow. Yeah. I was worried for a while that we stand-up comedians would be replaced, but not so worried anymore.
I mean, it's got the phrasing of a joke, but without the idea of a joke.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I've seen acts like that as well.
I'm going to try this tonight. I'm doing a new material night. Should I do it?
Oh, definitely. You should definitely, yeah.
But should I say beforehand?
Yeah. Say that it's written by GPT, yeah. Otherwise, people will just think like, oh, because the first two bits are just depressing. They're not jokes, but they're not even neutral. They're just like, oh, that's really sad.
I'm going to save that now so I don't forget. All right, there we go.
Who wants to eat at the same restaurant?
So
but
if you want to see those jokes done in front of an audience, unlike what you've just watched here, come to Brixton tonight. Although that'll be the same time this is being broadcast, so it'll be quite difficult for you to get there.
Could you film it? Have you got your phone to film it? And then we can play it on next week's show.
Oh yeah, I will. I'll film it. There we go.
That's good.
What if it gets laughs? How fucking depressing is that going to be?
But it can't do because they weren't jokes.
Oh, come on.
The decaf thing has got something.
The decaf is close.
Yeah.
That's close.
But like, who wants to eat at the same restaurant? But when you're married, you have to. Eh?
Because you have a joke about compromise in a relationship. So when I read that, I was like, oh my God, it's stolen Steve's joke. So many people have. Now artificial intelligence is doing it.
Yeah. I mean, it is a very predictable joke. So if the computers will do that joke, like, you know, the infinite number of monkeys on infinite number of typewriters writing for an infinite time, way before they get to the works of Shakespeare, they'll do that compromise joke. Yeah. It's so easy.
And you do have sort of a robot-like mind, so it wouldn't be surprising.
That is true.
You're the original AI.
Exactly. It's almost how my name's spelled. The Alan part. I should change one of the L's to an I. What was the first bit?
The roller coaster.
Oh, that's it.
It's like 1 minute you're on top of the world and the next you're in the depths of despair. But you know what they say, why pay for a roller coaster ride when you can live it for free? Again, the setup is there. Like,
well,
you know, when the wind blows your pop off.
Well, marriage is like a roller coaster. I won't do it with anyone who's under this tall. You know, that kind of. That's how easy it is. AI, you can do this. Do you know what I mean?
You've got to be 16 to ride this ride.
Yeah, we could workshop with AI. You know, it's coming up with some ideas, but really got no follow through.
There we go.
I was trying to work on a bit of material which will never work. I've told this to a few friends about. There are two types of people in this world. Mm-hmm. Those who, when you walk into a kitchen and see a fork that's maybe got a little bit of dirt, just in the draining board, still got a little bit of dirt on it, and they'll just pop the hot tap on, get the old sponge, and you've made the world a better place. And there are those people who will pick up that fork, carry it throughout the house, away from the kitchen where it lives, to their partner to put it in their face and go, "You're not cleaning that very well." And somehow we've all managed to marry one of those arseholes. And this is that should be relationship material. But it turns out I've tried it with a few people and everyone else agrees that's what you should do with dirty cutlery. Yeah, you carry it through the house to thrust it into the face. So yeah, it's not going to be relatable material. There's only me and a robot that would be like, why don't you just wash the damn thing?
Well, I've got a suggestion for you as a joke about cleaning forks. Have you ever noticed how cleaning a fork can be more complicated than it seems? I mean, you think it's a simple utensil, but it can get pretty dirty. And you don't even get me started on the tines. It's like a miniature crime scene investigation.
Did the robot write jokes about cleaning forks?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm so like a robot.
The real problem is, how many times have you tried to wash a fork, only have it slip out of your hand and fall in the sink? And then you have to fish it out from the bottom, all while trying to avoid touching the grimy water. It's like a game of Jenga, but with kitchen utensils and germs. And then there's the question of how many times to wash it. Once, twice, 3 times? I mean, you don't want to use a dirty fork, but you also don't want to waste water. It's a delicate balance. But the real kicker and my closing bit, after all that work, You still have to put the fork back in the drawer. And that's when you realize you just need to start the whole process over again tomorrow.
Am I right? Who's with me?
See, I fixed your joke.
It is worrying that I do write. I'm on the same topics as AI chat GPT. Because I've never been cut open, so for all I know, I might have wires in there. You know, that kind of moment of realizing, how do I know that I'm human?
When did Data realize he wasn't human?
No, I think he always knew.
He knew.
Because he had the collected memories of the people who lived in that area before the attack by the entity that killed them all, but he's had all the memories of everyone in the colony. Do you remember that bit?
No.
Well, of course I do, because my AI memory helped. All right, well, terrifying news. Though I've got one more to do. This is a really short one, which means we'll bring this in on time. There is one more problem if we'd like to solve it.
Please.
This is the problem of who took Prince Harry's virginity. Front page of The Sun over the weekend. I took Harry's virginity. Amazing full story on pages 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It takes longer to read about it than to actually do it, which is the scary thing. And we got extra details on there as well. It was sex in a field behind a busy pub. For his sake, I'm hoping the pub wasn't called the Prince of Wales, because imagine just looking up, that's going to take therapy. And then what else is on there? Older lover. She's 2 years older than him. You're really embellishing a story when, I lost my virginity to an older lady who taught me the ways. Taught you what? Managed to buy booze for you like a couple of weeks before you could get it yourself. Unbelievable. Which actually, if he calls her an older lady, which is a 2-year age gap, what does he say about Meghan? There's a 3-year age gap there. So, in comparison, this is the older lady who, in the book, I think he says she treated him like a stallion. And I think I've done the joke before on here. I'll do it again because it's one of my favourite ones. I actually once made love to a woman who treated me like a stallion. She spent most of the time feeding me sugar cubes from an open palm. And there are other jokes there about grooming. It's up to you, isn't it? But so that's the latest thing. There was where's the other thing? I think this is it. So the woman who took Prince Harry's virginity says that he could have warned her before publishing Spare. I'm not sure she had that much of a big role in that book. How could you not tell me that you were... You got a little bit of a mention, not by name. So you could have just not told anyone that it was you and we all wouldn't have cared and continued not caring. But, I mean, good luck to you. You also sold your story. And did you inform him before you sold it to the Sun? Probably not. But anyway, the whole key with Harry and Meghan and all the royals is to not care. But I have been listening to the book. I've not been reading it because I don't have time to do all that reading, but I can listen to the audio book. Now, as we learned last week as well, you can't hear this. I'm about to play out an audio clip. But if you listen to the audiobook version, Prince Harry narrates some of the interesting things. This wasn't the one about his virginity being lost, but this was another sexual encounter. And be warned, it does get quite erotic.
Later that night, Chelsea and I had our first kiss under the stars. Maybe I just wanted to feel something. She reached out and petted me. Suddenly, I found myself in the bush, under the flap of smashed fur. Paramedics were there within minutes.
Yep, that's how I do it. So, there you go. We're up to date. The key is to not care about who took Prince Harry's virginity.
I can't believe the one joke you didn't do in that whole segment.
What did I miss?
You missed, you said that she didn't have a big role in that story, but she did have a role in the hay.
You've been getting Chat GPT to help you halfway through the show. You got it live now.
That was all me.
Can't tell the difference. Yeah. There was a thing because Google are releasing their Barb version and they're going to try and integrate it. And Bing is integrating Chat GPT into its search. And over the weekend, some people were allowed to trial it, and you could ask longer questions. So apparently there was a way that you could ask questions of up to 1,000 characters. And I thought, that's nothing. I have to listen to longer questions than that from the other half. There's at least a paragraph of setup before I'm like, oh, shit, I've forgotten what's been said now. I don't even know what the topic is. So if AI could do that for me. You see, that's how you do a relationship joke, AI. You'll never get it unless you've lived it.
There you go. You don't know what they've lived. You don't know their lived experience.
Yeah, that's true, because they don't have one. That'll get me cancelled. Give it 10 years from now, and the fact that I'm saying that robots aren't real, they're not alive. How dare you, Steve?
Please cancel us. God, I would love that boost.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of paperwork.
Oh, anyway, I mean, I have been canceled, but by the wrong kind of cancellation. Doesn't count. Right. Well, we probably should wrap this up. As fun as it's been, we are. Where am I? Am I anywhere I want to plug this weekend? I think I'm at Crack Comedy this weekend, in Kingston and Wimbledon, or back Brixton somewhere. And yourself, you anywhere exciting?
I mean, again, no one will get there in time, but I'm in Eton tonight, which right now we're probably about to go on stage. I am in East Grinstead on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday. I don't know if you've heard of this gig, Eric. It's the Backyard in Bethnal Green. So I'll be there this weekend.
It's a really nice club to play.
Yeah, I remember
playing there.
Not really bumped into you there, have I? But weird. Anyway, so
I remember doing previews there, fundraisings there, playing weekends there for years.
New materials on Thursdays. Great audiences. And this is what I like about that gig. They've got such a wide range of audience. People always say, you get your Essexy types, your London type. It's an audience. They do the unleashed ones, an audience that will literally listen to any point of view. It's about not just diversity of protected characteristics, diversity of thought. Any comments on that, Eric?
Well, I think our time is up today.
Oh, it's a shame, isn't it?
I won't be there.
I might not be after that either.
Anyway, we will be back next Tuesday, if not the Tuesday after that.
Whichever one comes first.
And thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, share. Give us money.
Yes, please.
But thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems.
And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video.
Or subscribe. Commitment.